I want to invite Kandiss Taylor to come up for an interview. Some of you are familiar with Kandiss, some of you aren't, but we're going to hear her story today. How's it going?
Awesome.
Great. You want to put this on?
You do it.
Just put that on somewhere right there, yeah. How's it going? Good to meet you in person. We follow each other online, but it's the first time we're really able to meet in person.
I feel like I'm a fangirl. I've been reading all of your stuff, and you're so brave. And so people tell me I'm brave. I'm like, okay, I'm not as brave as Laura Loomer, but I'm brave.
Well, I appreciate that. I love your Trump bag. That's so cute. Show everybody your little Trump bag. That's so cute, isn't that?
I went and took my 18-year-old just graduated high school, so we went to New York. I've been several times, but he's never been. So we went to the Trump Towers, but on the escalator.
Oh, you got that at Trump Tower?
I went there, and this was the only one they had.
Wow.
I said, God must have known I needed this. So anyway, I love it.
Cute bag, right?
Yeah.
You always need Trump gear.
That's right. That's right.
So for those, I mean, I know a lot of people know you because you ran in Georgia. You ran for governor of Georgia. You ran against this treacherous rhino, Brian Kemp, who is now participating in this witch hunt against President Donald Trump. So you could just introduce yourself to the viewers and tell everybody your story.
Yeah. So I'm an educator. I've been a public school educator all my career. I'm
Kandiss Taylor.
Yep, Kandiss Taylor. I'm Kandiss Taylor. I have a PhD in counseling, and I ran for U.S. Senate in 2020. I ran for governor in 2022. Lord, I'm not running in 24. No, that I ran for state GOP chair, first district chair, and I'm actually over 15 counties in Georgia. So I'm on the executive committee, which I thank God made that happen because I now am getting a vote for our electors, so I can help them be funded for their lawsuit. So they're going to have to do this criminal investigation, whatever they're doing.
We just had Derek Evans on prior to you, and I ran for Congress as well. I ran in 2020 and 2022, and something that we all have in common is the fact that we're all America First, pro-Trump, MAGA candidates that ran against Republicans. We're all primarying rhinos. And so, what was your experience like in Georgia with the GOP establishment, with this good old boys club, and speaking out like you did so vocally about voter fraud in a state with a Republican establishment-led government that doesn't believe in voter fraud?
Well, I feel like 100% I accomplished a lot in Georgia. When I first started plowing this through, they were looking at me like I had three heads. Like, who are you to run? Who are you? And I ran for U.S. Senate, and I just was like, I'm one of you, and I'm running, and President Trump won. And so, and they're like, she just said he won. Really, like that's literally what they said. I had GOP chairs that would not let me speak. There's 159 counties in Georgia. They have to let you speak if you're a candidate. They would refuse. I was offered money not to run to get out of the race. It was horrible. When I ran for governor, I had a base set up, like a base. I got like 40-something thousand when I ran for U.S. Senate. Probably more because they cheat, but that's what I had a base of. And so I had so many people volunteer. Actually, I had 60,000 volunteers for my governor campaign. And maybe 1% of your people is going to volunteer. Active volunteers, grassroots, like never been seen in the state of Georgia. And then I got 40,000 votes in 2022. I got less votes in the governor race than I did in U.S. Senate when my name recognition was everywhere. But what I know, and my neighbors were up and down all night, and my team did so much research for me on the voting. I got 5% of Kemp's total the whole night of the election. The election results were coming out, and you could multiply his number by 0.05, and it was my exact number. And it's mathematically impossible. That's not going to happen. But that's what happened the whole night. And then I did affidavits of voters that voted for me, and I had precincts all over the state where I had no votes, but I had people sign an affidavit that voted for me in that precinct. So I know the votes are so messed up. They know that I know. But what are you going to do? I mean, they refuse to listen.
Right. But they allowed you to debate. That's one thing they didn't allow me to do. They didn't allow me to debate. All the TV stations, right, they allowed for other candidates to debate. And, there was a debate in the district, which my opponent didn't show up to, but I did get to see your debate, and it was great. It was hilarious. It was hilarious watching you, talk about all these issues that, these rhinos just don't want to talk about. So what was it like running against Brian Kemp?
CCP issues. I got to call Joe Biden a fraudulent pedophile. It was good. It was good.
Yeah,
that was actually our friend, Laura Loomer, that pushed me to say that. She's like, just call him a fraudulent pedophile. And so when I'm on the stage, it just came out. I was like, thank you, Lauren. If I get in trouble, like, you told me to say that. So that's all Lauren.
Yeah, we love Lauren.
We love Lauren. Yes. And so anyway, but it was so surreal being able to debate finally, because I was like, I want to hold them accountable. And they just did this little softball back and forth when they would debate Trump and Purdue. Brian Kemp and Purdue, back and forth. And it was like a softball. And I'm like, they're not asking any questions and challenging them at all of each other. Like, it's just easy. So when I went for the jugular.
Yeah, but that's my favorite tactic. I like going for the jugular.
I know you do. But I had one shot, you know, and if you would have done the same thing, if you could have debated, one shot, we're going for it.
So you were the America First candidate. What kind of support did you receive in Georgia from other Georgia Republicans who claim that they are MAGA and America First? People like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example. I mean, did she support your race at all, or no? Yeah. Well, that's no surprise.
In fact,
I've been very outspoken.
I have a text message so we were friends, I thought.
I thought so too.
But I got a text message from that I've never shared.
Yeah. Oh, so this is an exclusive, a Kandiss Taylor exclusive, everybody.
I won't read it, but I have it, that she sent me right before the primary. And so, you know...
What'd she say to you?
She sent a text message that was basically asking me not to run.
Oh, telling you she doesn't want you to run.
Which is kind of funny
for the governor's race.
And if that had happened to her, she would have posted the text message. She would have been like, look here, look. And I didn't. I wanted to, but I didn't. But not because...
I think you should.
I didn't because I wasn't going to be like her.
All right, there it is.
Yeah, but you know, I think it's really important that we don't allow for our movement to be taken over by people, you know, who are falsely using President Trump's name in order to run under the banner of America First and MAGA, and told, right, she promised the voters of Georgia that she was going to go to Washington, D.C., and that she was going to fight the swamp. She said that she was not going to support Kevin McCarthy, and then she ended up supporting Kevin McCarthy. And I don't see why. I think that your policies are more aligned with the MAGA America First base. I mean, clearly, you know, Brian Kemp just came out and attacked Donald Trump the other day when he was indicted out of Fulton County. Governor Kemp just signed a bill recently that gives the governor of Georgia, which he is, the authority to remove district attorneys, and he doesn't want to remove Fani Willis, even though she campaigned, her entire campaign message in Fulton County was about getting Trump, right? Getting Trump and going after Donald Trump. So I think it's important for people to see who these people really are. And I have a very similar situation to you, right? We were friends, and then, you know, she had said, oh, we got to get you elected to Congress so you can fight with me. And then what did she do? She turned on me as soon as she started getting close with McCarthy. But I don't know. What does that mean? Does that mean that she supports Kemp? I mean, she just said the other day at the court, she
seems like she supports him.
She said on Twitter that people shouldn't show up to the Fulton County courthouse to support Trump.
It's confusing, her messaging with Kemp, because she doesn't come out and say to get rid of the machines. I had somebody actually that was going to her town hall last week, and they said, Kandiss, what would you ask her if you went? I said, well, I'd ask her, in her opinion, because she's going to say it's a federal issue. So in her opinion, would she should the Georgia legislators get rid of the machines? In her opinion, yes or no? Just yes or no. She went in this long thing about, as a voter, I think we should use the machines we have, the system we have, to the best of our ability, and we should turn out the vote. Well, you know what? You can't harvest enough ballots through all the ballot harvesting. You can't rescan enough ballots to control somebody that can recode a machine and type in whatever number they want to. Right. You can't outdo that.
Yeah, and she, of all people, should be speaking out, right, about what's going on in Georgia, especially because they tried using lawfare to keep her off the ballot. It's the same thing they're going to try to do to Donald Trump, and yet you would expect somebody who calls himself, you know, a Trump ally in Georgia to be trying to organize a massive rally in Fulton County in front of the courthouse,
or just really come out and go off on Brian Kemp and say, why are you calling 2020 the securest election of all time?
So when you got this text message, was it like a threatening message, or was it nice, or what was the tone of it, or was it, if you don't mind sharing?
I felt like it was a lot of audacity for her to send it to me. Really.
But was it like a friend-to-friend type thing, or was it hostile?
Yeah. Trying to be friend to friend. No, trying to be cordial.
Cordial.
But
why did she say you shouldn't run? Like, what reasons did she
get behind David Perdue, who had no support? I had all the grassroots support. So why would I get behind? Right. Why would I get behind David Perdue, who didn't even want to run?
Who was anti-Trump.
Yeah, he was.
He was, and that's why people didn't show up to vote for him in Georgia
and he conceded
2020.
Immediately. Yeah, he conceded immediately before, with about 20% of the vote.
And then you have Kelly Loeffler, who came out and, you know, said she didn't like President Trump's actions on J6, right?
Yeah. Well, she's a traitor.
Yeah.
But it's all being set up for Kelly Loeffler to run for governor and Brian Kemp to run for U.S. Senate. We all know.
Right.
It's all being said. And I mean, I saw all of them in the back at the Georgia State Convention, all talking about they were Kelly Loeffler because she has all the money. So all the Congress people, they're back there talking to her because they want her money.
Right.
It's a joke. I'm like, okay, well, y'all make sure to go get that money.
That's what it's all about, right?
It's all about the money. But one thing we did, Laura, is we took over the GOP.
Yeah.
So from the Senate race to the governor race to now, we have taken over my volunteers, because I had tens of thousands of them. We took over seats in the counties all over.
Wow.
We took over all the top seats of the whole state. Now, there's a couple that I think were Purdue supporters, but I'm telling you, we have all new people.
Wow.
And it's because the people want new. They're sick of it. They're sick of the same old. They want new. So the good thing is the GOP now welcomes people that are new coming in and doesn't try to blackball them.
That's nice. So are you going to do anything? Do you have any plans? I know you have a lot of volunteers and a lot of support in Georgia. What do you think about this indictment in Fulton County, and what are your plans to kind of, rally the troops in Georgia? Are you going to go to the arraignment?
I think they're cowards.
Yeah.
They're all cowards. So I work full time. I'm a public school educator. I don't know if I'll go. I'll pray about it and see what God says, but I'm very upset, and I'm going to do everything I can on the state election board to make sure that we fund these electors, that we give them the money they need to protect themselves, and I'm going to speak out. I called every one of them a coward. It kind of went viral for me on Twitter when I called them all cowards.
Well, let me know, because I'm going to go to Georgia. I'm going to come out to Georgia for the arraignment.
So I should come meet you, right?
You should come meet me. Yeah, it'd be fun. But I'm planning on being there. We don't know the date yet. He has until the 25th to surrender, so we'll see what happens. But I'm planning on going to Georgia, and would love to see you there, and going to be there in front of the courthouse, and hopefully, have a bunch of people there to rally in support of President Trump.
Isn't it funny that you come to Georgia, but other people in Georgia say nothing?
Well, I even chased Brad Raffensperger in D.C.
I saw it.
You have, like you said, you have all these America First people in Georgia, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example, says that she's so pro-Trump, but where's she calling out Raffensperger?
And Kemp. Well, I don't understand that. That's the one thing about her I don't get, is why isn't she calling them
And Brian
out?
Kemp says that there's no such thing as voter fraud, and that there's no voter fraud in Georgia. Well, why did he sign a bill banning Zuckerbucks then? They signed the bill in Georgia that was put forth by the Republican legislature because they recognized that there was fraud in Georgia that was funded by Mark Zuckerberg and the Zuckerbucks. So how can Brian Kemp say that there is no fraud in Georgia when he signed the bill that banned them from using Zuckerbucks, but then he doesn't do anything to enforce it. Signs the bill, in May, and then a few days later, Brad Raffensperger and his lawyer go to the Spy Museum in Washington, D.C., which is paid for by Zuckerbucks and Soros. And now he's going to be reimbursed, right? The taxpayers are paying for their Secretary of State to fly out to this conference.
And why are you exposing all this? Well, we know Marjorie gets in front of the media more than anybody in Georgia. So why wouldn't she be the one exposing this stuff?
Exactly.
So that's what bothers me.
Well, she's too busy today. You saw today, she's talking about how she's going to be VP, which, yeah, right. Talking about how she might run for Senate. Yeah, she said there was an article that came out today about, I'll show it to you actually. She said she wants to be VP, she wants to run for Senate. But I'll tell you right now that if she runs for a Senate seat in Georgia, the Republicans can kiss the Republican Senate seat goodbye.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen because she voted for the increase in the budget, and the people were livid.
Well, and she voted for McCarthy. She's the reason why we're in this mess, because she's the one that pushed through McCarthy. Yeah, you can see right here.
And she will not say we need to get rid of the machines.
I just think it's important for people to hear about this stuff because they need to know.
Kemp and floats VP Senate bid. Oh, she did blast Kemp. Is that true? Well, AJC said.
Well, they say she blasting for us. When we blast someone, it's an actual blast.
Yes, no, I've never heard her blast Kemp.
But it's interesting. I think that more Republicans. I spoke about this today. We need to start calling out more Republicans, and we need to expose them because
they're fake Republicans.
Yeah, they are. They're fake Republicans, and we're not going to get anywhere by holding our tongue and going along to get along with people. We need to start holding people accountable and exposing them. They shouldn't be able to have private positions and public positions, right?
No.
You're either pro-Trump, you're either MAGA, you either want to support America First candidates or you don't.
That's right. And it's
you shouldn't be putting on a show for the voters and then sending people text messages. I said the same thing to me, so it's the exact same thing, text messages and all.
But people didn't, but her, and she exposed them and we have very much the same base. in Northwest Georgia, where she is. Her volunteers were my volunteers. They love me. And I knew...
She didn't endorse you?
No. She endorsed Kelly Loeffler over me in the U.S. Senate race when all of her supporters wanted me. And then she went and endorsed David Perdue. Well, yes, she didn't endorse him, but she supported him. And that's okay. She can do whatever she wants to.
Yeah.
But don't act like you're a Christian. Don't act like you're good friends with people, and you don't want to get rid of voting machines. They're totally hijacking our elections in Georgia.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, they're hijacking it. And that's why you had people like Brian Kemp and people like Brad Raffensperger recently at the Spy Museum on a panel with Jamie Raskin, right, the January 6th lead, and one of the impeachment managers talking about how, oh, well, you can't win an election if you can't win Georgia. So they're already trying to set the stage for rigging Georgia so that Donald Trump can't get back in.
And we know we have to have Georgia. And the people of Georgia love President Trump.
Yes.
And it's not because he's our king. It's not because he's God. It's because he represents us. And tell me one other candidate that even has 20% of what he has to represent the people. There's not one.
There's not.
And people are like, oh, well, he didn't endorse you. Why are you supporting President Trump?
Yeah, they say the same to me. They're like, oh, he didn't endorse you. Because I ran against the Rhino, and, you know, some of his people told him they lied. Some of McCarthy's people told him that I was 25. I was 25. Not all of them, but some of them, yes, I agree. Some of them are. Told them that I was 25 points behind and that I had no chance of winning the villages. You know, so I did win the villages at the end of the day, and President Trump recognizes that now. But so what? I'm going to turn on President Trump because he didn't endorse me? Right. No, I'm not a transactional person. Exactly. I'm going to stay loyal to President Trump.
And because he's the best person for the job.
He's the best person for the job. It's not about whether he endorsed me or you.
That's
or
exactly right.
else.
It's what's best for America.
It's what's best for America. That's right.
I mean, I want to raise my family and write books and help kids with sexual abuse.
How many kids do you have? Three. You have
I have one that just went to college.
Okay.
And I have a 15-year-old that's a type 1 diabetic, and then I have a 6-year-old.
Wow.
Yes.
So you have all ages.
All ages, and we are busy. And Fitz, my youngest one, every time Mike comes on the TV, I was telling Mike a while ago, he says, Mama, there's Uncle Mike. I'm like, he's not your uncle. But he thinks he is because he's met Mike and he loves him.
Who's Mike?
Mike Lindell. He thinks
Mike Lindell.
And he said, I am his uncle. Leave him alone. I'm his uncle. It's fine. So anyway.
That's cute. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for fighting. Thank you for standing by President Trump, and thank you for fighting for what's
100%.
right and not giving up, no matter. Because I know they call you crazy, just like they call me crazy. They say you're a kook. They say you're conspiracy
flat earther.
Far right.
I get called everything.
Far right, just like me. But it's people like you, right? As President Trump says, it's the outsiders who always end up changing things and changing the world. So
one at a time.
Just got to stay in the fight.
That's right.
And hopefully. Keep me posted on anything that you're doing in Georgia, because we got to make sure that we have people out there to support President Trump.
So maybe we'll see you next week.
Yeah, hopefully. Definitely.
Unless the charges get dropped.
We'll see what happens.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be nice, right. Well, thank you. Where can people follow you, Kandiss?
Kandiss Taylor. just my name. Kandiss. Kandiss Taylor on all social media.
And what are you on? You haven't been banned?
Twitter. Well, I've gotten banned a couple times. I've lost all my followers. Had to build them back.
Okay, so you're on Twitter. Where else?
Twitter, Facebook, Getter, Gab, Telegram, True Social.
Okay, great. Wonderful. So Kandiss Taylor. Great. Well, thank you so much. Great seeing you.
You too. All right.
So be sure that you're liking the stream, retweeting it, sharing it, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble. Be sure that you share it on Truth. Follow me on Twitter, Getter, Telegram, and also please be sure that you visit goldco.com/Laura Loomer. We really want to make sure that we support our sponsors, since our sponsors are supporting me and the Patriots who are tuning into this live stream. So be sure that you go to goldco.com/Laura Loomer. We are living in extremely volatile financial times right now. Inflation is through the roof and everybody's feeling it. Every time I go to the grocery store, I spend over $250, and I'm just a single woman with 2 dogs. But things are getting hard out there, and you want to make sure that you protect your family by backing up your assets and your wealth with gold and silver. So go to goldco.com/Laura Loomer, and also be sure that you show some appreciation to Mike Lindell. He's facing nearly $8 billion in judgments against him. Potentially, he's going to be deposed all next week because he's taken a stand. He's put millions of dollars of his own money into fighting against election fraud. And so one way that you can support Mike Lindell is by going to mypillow.com. Check out his slippers. I have the dog beds. My dogs love the dog blankets and the dog beds from MyPillow. I personally love my MyPillow mattress topper. I have the sheets. I have everything because, you know, Mike Lindell is such a nice guy. He sent me the dog beds. He sent me the blankets. He sent me everything. So mypillow.com, and when you select your products, be sure you use code Loomer, my last name Loomer, for savings up to 66%. So we're gonna wait on some more people to interview. Got a lot of people here interviewing, so we're gonna resume the election coverage, and stay tuned. Around 6 o'clock is when Steve Bannon, 6:30 actually, is when Steve Bannon, Mike Lindell, and General Flynn are taking the stage for a panel discussion together. And in the next half hour or so, Lou Dobbs is going to be heading over to my table where we will be interviewing him.